Oh, baby, what an opening map in a series that everyone had anticipated going to map 3. And it feels like, based on the way map 1 went, it's very possible that's going to end up happening. Welcome back to the desk as we just watched Moguls barely squeak out a win on Haven over the Guard. But it was an incredibly close game. And at any given point, that game could have ended differently. We felt like maybe the Guard was going to close things out, which would have made things very difficult based on where we're going in the series. But instead, it is Moguls who survive in this gauntlet of a battle. 13-11. It was not easy whatsoever, Sully. This was a very tight series.
Yeah, this game, especially in that first half, felt like really back and forth. Like, it was the Guard having, I think, very solid control for the first couple of rounds, then Moguls starting to turn up. Keep in mind, one of the key things that we're going to look at when we go to the player cards and the stats is that this was a Moguls that kept up with the Guard without a sim that was activated. And yes, I think sim maybe had a little bit more impact when it came to the attacking side. I felt his entries were actually getting some impact. Granted, he wasn't winning every single first duel. He was still finding space. It was a Moguls that was competing without sim, and it was due to a lot of the fact I think with, we're going to talk about these two players a little bit more. Thief and a Proto, two guys that were absolutely activated throughout this entire first map.
This was also an insanely grueling first map. One of the longer first halves we've seen in the playoffs already. A 51-minute map, but it was about 30 minutes in the first half alone. It felt like it just dragged on. These teams were really locking horns, and obviously timeouts playing a factor there as well. But it ends up being the series starting with a win for Moguls, but you can see why it was potentially a little bit difficult. The Guard getting the best of them in the opening kills. It was really the second half turnaround that came in from Moist that gave them the slight nudge. And some of that was like a Proto. A Proto was, I think he had a 15-5 second half, M.
Yeah, Proto was one of the players that definitely stood out for me. Watching him play, he had multiple 3Ks, but most Moguls in general, watching them, they had so many clean one-taps where my jaw dropped to the ground. Multiple kills that they got through the smokes. Those were huge takers there. They won both of the pistols. On their attack defense side, even though that they won the pistol, they lost the second round. So that's when I was getting a little bit afraid for them. But even though that they were up, down in the first kills, it was 14-10, and they still came out with a win. Shows that they were really strong in their retakes and staying composed, which was huge.
One of the things we talked about the other day too is that these two players, Brock and Thief, are two of the most improved players for Moguls coming into this playoff bracket. From split 1 to split 2, they are actually two of the most improved players across all teams, and you can see it play out there. Thief ends up finishing at the top. And even though Brock's scoreline is a little bit deceptive, because I think he finishes 18-17, he was 11-6 in the second half, kind of illustrates the turnaround that we were talking about. A lot of the players ended up stepping up their performance big time in that second half, which is very important, because if they had struggled to close out this first map, we're going to interesting territory. We'll take a look at the map picks and bans so you can see exactly what we're talking about. Map number 2 is a map we have not seen from Moguls. We did not see this map even from Breakthrough. The last time Breakthrough, the team that eventually became Moguls, played Bind was November 29th of last year. That's 185 days ago, to give you some comparison, and it was with a different roster. They had Governor on the team instead. They played against Virtuoso, another team that's on the brink of this scene. 13-11 victory. Obviously, things have changed. The team has gotten much better. They've put in Thief, and I feel like that's brought things up a little bit of a level on its own. But Sully, this is a big old question mark for us.
And look, there are two ways this can go. There's the one side of, dude, they've been saving strats. They're like G2 and Split 2. They've just been saving every strat for Bind just for this exact moment. They're the best Bind team in the world. They're Optic from 2022. Now, the other side of the coin is that they just suck on this map, and they just will never play. But it's not like they're banning it every time. So I'm gonna play the good side and say they're Optic from 2022. They're gonna absolutely deck the Guard on this map and take this series 2-0. But part of me is like, shoot, like maybe they just absolutely suck on this map, and we could see a third map, and I think that's definitely like where my head is headed. I want to see a third map as well. That's the other thing. I'm really excited for this series.
Especially because map 3 is a map that these two teams play quite a bit of. They'd be going to Lotus if it does make it to map 3, and I feel like that's where these teams should match up pretty evenly with each other. but I'm still like just thinking like, what are they going to do?
Yeah.
I don't even know what kind of composition are they going to run? What agents are they going to use? Is it going to be Old Faithful? Are they going to stick with a classic rendition? Or are they going to be unique like they have been on Ascent and bring Viper into the mix? Do something a little bit different. Who knows?
Yeah, and I want to go into the mindset of the players from Most Moguls. We were talking to a Proto pregame, and he was saying it's how you adapt to hurdles is when you show your true potential as a team. So the fact that they were able to pull through on that very, very tight game versus the guard shows that they're still staying composed. And going into this next game, I think they're going to be ready for a bind and give us something that we might have not seen before.
I do generally think that, like, again, like, this comes from an interview from Fly. Like, they have like it's kind of quirky. They have like a list of words that they say every time they feel like a game is getting out of hand. It's just like next round, it's okay, 0-0, that kind of thing. So like in general, like as I was speaking about Fly as an IGL, I just generally think that Moist Moguls, like the aura that they've been giving us, and it's the same thing with the guard as well. Like both teams have this very calm aura. Like this is a group of guys for the guard.
Yeah.
Every player on this roster has been in a position like this before. Like they've been in these high pressure situations. For Moist Moguls, like the only person that hasn't been in the situation, I feel like is Sim. He's like the new gun.
Yeah, and I mean, Most Moguls must be feeling good, right? They went 5-0 in Split 2. They got the first map of this series. They're feeling full-on confident going into the second map of Bind.
I want to point something out, though, and this is really important. Production, if possible, can we show the cams for Moist Moguls again? There's something I noticed that we somehow did not pick up on. Hey, Proto is not wearing the headband. I think Moist Moguls
it's over.
should now be sweating and crying profusely because it feels like that buff has been eliminated.
Trust.
What is going on? I don't even recognize him with a forehead. This is blowing my mind.
No.
But more seriously, like, yeah, where's the headband? Can we get him one? It just looks weird.
The other side of the story is that they're in the Optic Gaming facility, and Optic were the dogs on Bind. So you know they're like FNS has left like clues all around the facility of how to play Bind, and they went on the scavenger hunt during the break. So Moist Moguls are coming and cooking.
Maybe there's some sort of bind juice in the air,
Right.
contagion that they're going to catch. We'll see what they decide to do, and so far, so good. It seems sort of standard. We've seen this composition from quite a few teams. We'll see what ends up rounding out the mix. And we'll get a mirror match, which kind of makes sense. It does feel like this is what most teams would run on this map. And looking back at even just the bind play that's come out in the past from the guard, this matches what we've seen from them as well. So it doesn't really feel like either team is doing anything too risky. It does feel somewhat standard here, Sully.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. Like this is two very standard compositions. Like everyone has seen this. We've seen it in Americas. We've seen it in EMEA. We've seen it all across the globe. The key thing I think for both of these teams, and the two factors that were lacking for both of these sides, Sim, shaky first half, started to heat up a little bit in the second half. Same thing with Tex. I think he played a little bit better, but there's still room for both of those players to get online here, and I think they will be very key as the difference makers in this second map.
Dust, Shift, I hope you guys got some lozenges. I feel like you're going to have sore throats after this series concludes. It was a close match in map 1, and I feel like we're going to get the same here out of map 2. Take it away.
Lozenges, Dust? I don't know
Sore
about that.
throats?
I just got H2O here, that little liquid life in a bottle here. That's all I need. I mean, come on. We've been begging
Got the
for
branded.
a series. Oh, snap. I didn't realize you had
Got
one of
the
those.
branded
Man,
hydration,
this boy
bro.
is
That's what's up.
checking all the boxes right now, Dust. Love to hear that from you.
Dude.
The thing about it is we've been dying to see a matchup like this between these two squads. Like we said, we got a taste of it, but it wasn't with all 10 players. Now we've got it. First map provided, and I love the fact that we're seeing Bind here because this is really going to be one of those things to see if Moist Moguls can keep up with the guard when it comes down to a lot of the things that you mentioned in that first map. Mid-round adaptations, creativity, versatility. That's the stuff that the guard really excels at, and it is definitely on display for this map. About to find out. Moist Moguls, having never played this yet, gonna get a taste of it right off the rip here. Let's get it on.
Bro, that's what you're talking about, bro. You got behind door number 1, you got the tried and true, a team that's 3-0. It's like a nice prize at some type of Price is Right type game show. Then there's the mystery box. Could be beautiful, could be a zoink.
Oh, and we're gonna get a zoinks right off the rip here. Oh my, just classic warfare. Oh boy.
Well,
Okay. Well,
or is it a song? I can't remember what the heck that thing's called. That's some real boomer stuff over there. Price is Right. I can't remember. Doesn't matter.
it was a zonk.
It's something that starts with a Z and ends with Onk
Okay.
or Ink or whatever. I don't know.
It's not a zoink.
Why
I'll
did I
tell you
even do
much.
that?
I don't know.
Probably not. It's probably not a zoink.
Spike planted.
Could
That's
go like
the only real answer you could have given is
True.
I don't know why you would do that to yourself. That's fine.
I'll see
take
what
it on
Fly
the
can
chin.
do here at range. Oh, he's already been headshot
Nothing.
at range. And then the answer will be nothing. Fallon will get 4. And I'm sure it surprised him as much as it surprised us. Flawless for round 1 pistol.
Yeah. As again, the guard came into this. They played the older version of Bind during Split 1 with some wins over Disguise. No our esports then beat Mad Lions in Split 2 in Week 9. So, I mean, honestly, when you think of the strength of field, not the craziest wins, but at least they have results on record. We know that they're capable of playing this map. Meanwhile, Moist Moguls, the mystery box. But sometimes that can be good because teams don't know what to expect. They don't have any film on you. They don't have a way to scout you.
Yeah.
Maybe all this time, Moist Moguls has been, fire and scrims and just always prepared for it. As the Death said, yeah, they haven't played it, but it's not like they were always banning it out either. It just hasn't come up
yeah,
yet.
It just hasn't come up. Yeah, good point. So I think if you're the guard, you just play your game.
Yep.
And see what you learn early. A little bit of patience here. Boombot doesn't even get off the ground. Little blast pack play from Tex. Gains control of the octagon. Teleport right back over towards Sewer side. There to meet them would be a Proto. Guiding Light does get a blind off onto a Proto who still tries to hold his ground, but does not quite connect. Little step forward here for Thief. Changing up the angle. Just trying to stay alive in his smoke for as long as possible. He may catch one by surprise here. Hold on a second. Plant comes out. Thief still gets one. Hold on. He's going to get 2. Still doable here for the Moist Moguls. 2v3 situation. The barrier orb is a problem with this plant, though, and as Flya peeks, well, the edge has been earned. Brock with the flash does not get around the corner, and the guard will go 2-0 up.
Kind of impressed with Thief did what he did, but in the end, still well managed by the guard. We're never in really any true fear of losing that round. Again, remember how much this match means. This puts you in the upper bracket finals. That's 1 best of 3 away from Ascension. That lower bracket run, a much harder path to travel to find yourself with that second slot to Ascension. And while the guard may have come in as a slight favorite, just based on results and pedigree and things of that nature, Moist Moguls has, again, been that dog that's been growing and growing each and every week, and now they just got a big win on Haven and an opportunity to perhaps pull one over here, as now they're on their bye against the bonus with the guard.
A couple of tags coming out. The guard fighting off Brock just a touch. Offensive smoke start to contest inside the side. Orbital strike also being spent. Flya looking to go quickly to try to contest this. And oh my goodness, the paint shot from Sim gets past the barrier orb and just destroys the guard.
Bruh, that was wild. Just wild. What in the heck?
I just hope we have an overhead replay of that because,
dude, I can't wait to see that again. I thought for a second it was their own barrier orb.
Poison orb emitting.
That was so.
The offensive side?
Yeah, I got a little bit confused on whose barrier orb it was because I wasn't paying attention to where a Proto was. But
Yeah,
either
Jonas,
way, yeah, it was. And he just kind of built the bridge to their own waste. Like, it's just like, oh man, that's tough.
It's a clean way to get into your third, though, I'll tell you that much.
It's not much of a cleaner bonus than this.
No.
If it holds up. If all 5 stay alive here, that's one way to do it.
Poison orb emitting.
Well, not all 5 will stay alive.
Only bloody 4. Unlucky. Just kidding, that's totally fine. Yeah, for sure.
So the flash over the top, I mean, you wouldn't even see the paint shells go in, but yeah, that barrier orb, I think it was supposed to block off half that entryway, and it just doesn't get around the corner.
Yeah, something was a little bit off about that. It wound up being their demise. And now Moist equal out. But again, that was just a bonus round. Now we're on to equal buys. No alts in play yet, just base utility and firepower.
Sim's gonna get free control here at Shower. Jonah maybe peeks. A little bit of help here from Proto, but maybe not enough. Sim gets pushed off. First blood tallied for the guard. And now they're making progress into lamps. And there is defense nearby. Thief in particular could still delay a plant while the Trailblazer starts to get to work clearing out the U-Haul side of things. Trent trying to get the plant off. Barrier orb down. Spam coming through, but Trent does get the plant before dropping. Still have a 4v4. Flank on the way. Valen just gets completely surprised. Sim pushing through the shower position. Leads the Moist Moguls now with the numbers. Just comes down to waiting for these smokes to dissipate, and then it's all action. And the sky smokes will fade. Flya clearing out one side. Oh, and Joda just gets caught looking the wrong direction. Moist Moguls now with good numbers. They have the guard completely trapped inside of U-Haul. Brock shut down. Little poke here from Tex. The barrier orb's in position. Flya holding the ground, and that will be enough. Little bodyguard action, even though Net gets the final kill. It's Moist Moguls who get their second.
Very back and forth of air, very touch and go, but it really came down to that flank from Sim onto Valen. And then blocking off U-Haul with the snake bite, catching Jonah P boosted. I thought the round looked grim at first for Moist Moguls off the start, just based on how that shower interaction went down and how quickly they were able to get up short and get some control of sight, but Moist Moguls fight back, but it did come at a cost. They do have to burn a lot of credits rebuying all these weapons, but now they have 2 walls to their name, and the guard are just as bad off economically, so I mean, this could be a potential little 2-for-1 deal, a little BOGO.
A
little combo meal.
A little BOGO. Happy hour.
BOGO. Happy hour is even nicer.
Yeah. Redeeming all those coupons, those loyalty points. The BOGO action.
Poison orb emitting.
Where did that come from?
No, this is going to be awkward.
I'll say. Oh, more awkward as Flya was the instigator and Tex won to lock down the shots. Regrowth out. Oh, and Brock is going to step in. Trailblazer denied. Tex thinking about it, but holds off. Plays it wisely. Brock gets back in towards sight and rotating over, trying to catch Joda P, but he's going to need a little bit of help here. And with that, Sim will be here to assist. Showstopper at the ready.
Yeah, but they're actually peeling off Brock. Sim gonna peek through. Timing's gonna be everything here because Net could just blindside him at any moment. Oh, and he does. And it goes from bad to worse for Moist Moguls as the guard have a 5-on-3, and now Seekers will lead them onto a freebie site. Teleporter has been hit, but Net's right here.
Yep. I think a Proto actually gets across, though. Net will hold off, so they know for a fact that's going to be a threat through this hookah position. You do have an orbital strike for Thief. Molly comes down. Do you call this orbital strike to flush out these guard members? May not matter. Trent gets one, and there it is. No. Full wipe comes out. The guard clean with a flawless round to get their third.
Indeed, it is the team ace coming in from the guard to put them back out in front one. Just comes down to an early interaction going the guard's way here as Fly gets caught. Sim gets caught next. And just kind of snowballs into the guard, steamrolling through for a third. Still able to get a buy, though.
Yeah.
For the most part, is Moist Moguls, and they saw that showstopper on Sim. No ults up for the guard.
Here comes it.
Early showstopper call. Sim is just going to run it right down mid. No joy here, though. Still the map positioning. Something that the guard will have to think about as they make their approach in towards Sands.
Yeah, just kind of a dice roll to try to get that showstopper out early, get a frag, maybe collect a weapon and man advantage, but none of that's going to happen. The guard plays back. Boombot clearing a little bit of a way forward inside the hookah. Brock gets pushed off from the garden push as well, and Flya eating some damage.
Just great isolation from the guard. Now the slow orbs have Brock completely cornered. He's going to have to hold his ground inside sight by himself. Almost gets the double, but only collects one. And the guard will get their plan. 4v3. Retake coming out. Orbital strike will be spent immediately. Sim trying to come around, but it's Jonah P in the corner to at least go 1-for-1. Tech still holding towards elbow. Thief and a Proto taking opposite angles. Trent could catch a Proto here. Oh, but a Proto clean shots. Tex drops instantly. Net's got to look at Thief. Molly comes down, though. How freaking brilliant is that from Moist Moguls? Are you kidding me? Little 2v3 synergy. Unreal.
Wow. And I was actually a bit concerned at first for him, man, because I thought that orbital strike came a little too late. I didn't think it was really going to have that much impact. Yeah, sure, it clears the sight so they can just focus up on guard and hookah. And so in that sense, the orbital strike kind of did a job clearing some spots they didn't have to worry about. But they were still a little bit down. They didn't sound like they were getting the room I thought they would get. And then all of a sudden, a Proto just comes up massive with that initial frag. It unlocks. Thief to get the Molotov into Garden, which gives a Proto another favorable battle, which he takes down. And yeah, you called it just right. It was just beautiful on the fly utility usage from Moist Moguls to keep this thing squared up at 3 apiece.
Yep. Wow. Now Moist Moguls hold an ultimate advantage coming into another full gun round for both teams. Showstoppers ready, paint shells pushing them off. Slow orb also in play, and how about that for Moist Moguls? A perfect read. The guard down to 4. Seekers are already out, and that should lead to some Moist Moguls map control. Trailblazer, though, does counter, and the guard will at least hold on to this, Shower's position to get the res off.
Yeah, and so that res is going to get burnt to get it back into a 5 versus 5 without really any map control being taken by the guard other than a little bit of Shower's presence. But now the Trailblazer going to kind of clear a way forward for Sim, but Valen with open arms waits for that, grabs it. Tex gets an entry with the Showstopper, and now they have the edge.
Orbital strike getting phoned in. The guard uses that as a chance to kind of cover behind explosive cover. Trent, flash out. Has one for sure. Snakebite. Proto in trouble. Has to force the gunfight. Not good news here. Flya now, last one left. And, well, Trent will confirm that he's also positioned inside the lamps. How dramatically things change as soon as that red's come out, though. Holy.
Yeah, we're seeing kind of another back and forth affair here on Bind thus far as, you know, the guard on Bind typically a little bit stronger on the attacking side, 65% win rate there. So certainly well on pace for that as they're about to go up 4-3. And the credits are, I believe, in kind of a vulnerable place for Moist. Yeah, indeed it is. I mean, 0 for a Proto, 100 for Brock, 800 for Thief. When this round of bonus money comes in, it's not going to be a whole heck of a lot. Get a Frenzy, pass around a rifle, try to get what they can here, but definitely advantage the guard.
Yep. But I'll tell you, Dust, it's been another one of those halves where it's been difficult to kind of go on a run for either of these two teams.
True.
I don't know, do you have any early evaluations of what we're seeing from Moist? Because at the moment, they're battling, man. I mean, they're giving guard a lot of things to think about.
I don't know. I've seen a mixture of things where there's been a couple of times where I feel like they've been a little bit off on their timing, like the orbital strike, for example, a couple of rounds ago on B. But then I've also seen them do some very creative things that have gotten them out in front and won a couple of rounds. But some of it does feel individualistic, like the fact that a Proto pulled off those frags. That same round I'm talking about, it's like something that you can't always replicate. It's still too early for me to say. Like, I can't really get a read yet how comfortable Moist are on this map.
Next point of contact here could be a dicey one. Flya, the hero rifle gets seen. Net tallies the first kill. Still holding close as Brock. Classic out, not going to work out. Hold on a second, though. Proto and Sim on the other side have gotten a couple, and now there's a full flood from behind. Sim and Thief still working for this. Phantom has been collected. Still a discussion on how this is going to be planted as Sim is able to tally another. This would give him a 1v3, but he's in a true 1v2 at the moment. Paint shells, Boombot at the ready if he needs it. Boombot will be sent out first. Does confirm that there is a player over to his left. Blind paint shells, trying to give him some space to work with. But still held inside the smoke. Here comes the play. Being watched at the low ground, and yeah, no worries there for Valen. And the guard create a little bit of separation here, 5-3 up.
That's one of those situations where, as you kind of look at the timelines, the guard that wins pistol, the follow-up, they lose the bonus. Moist Moguls go on a little bit of a run, but now the guard seem to be finding their footing here. Now up 5-3. Viper's Pit, Seekers come into this one. Rez and Viper's Pit available for Moist Moguls. Op available for Sim defensively. And that could be the ticket. Kind of get them back on the right pace.
Yep.
Don't get in my way.
Thief is going to be really trusted to lock things down here through mid. He is really the only one that's a bit on an island right now, with Flya still holding inside his Viper's Pit. He's got a lot of space that he can contest. He's playing for a lot of decay to come through as well. There's the offensive smokes. Thief not going to give away his position as of yet. Walls up. Molly comes in. That will stop the plant. Yes, it will. Trent has to back off. Barrier orb will be chewed through. Offensive Viper's Pit now extending over through halls. Second attempt for the plant, likely on the way. Snake bite in. This is good for Moist Moguls. They're delaying for what feels like an eternity, and they're getting a little bit of chip damage. This comes down to, can you actually successfully hold off this plant? You can see the gap with the barrier orb. And the guard, who are just kind of in this
I've got your trail.
green mist, the Seekers that are trying to create the separation. Thief has to back away, does get affected, but hold on. Proto comes into the mix. We'll go 2 for 2. Spike still not planted as of yet. Black still in a position to hold over towards the stack.
Poison's off.
And honestly, the guard, they're kind of
30
backing off
seconds
just a touch here. I mean, they don't really have the room to work to get this plant off. Only 25 seconds on the clock.
They may have to pivot. They may have to actually try to run at portal. But as soon as they trigger it, then the defense will know and be able to make their rotations. And indeed, the res will even be able to come through as well because they've abandoned the site. So it's going to give advantage to Moist Moguls. Clock is ticking. Sim just holds an angle with the operator. He's got to worry about this elbow swing, though, in the back halls from VALORANT. That could be huge.
That's really the only thing that could stop this post plant. Oh, VALORANT gets to work, but only drops one. Jonah P, he's been so icy for his squad. Another 1v3 in front of him. Oh, the tags are good, but no! Brock still steps in, takes the gunfight, collects the op, and will get Moist Moguls back to within 1 again.
Yeah, that was a crazy round. You know, both Viper's pits are getting deployed. Seekers are coming out. You're having a back and forth affair on site where there's chip damage coming left, right, and center. A couple of frags are going here and there. Spike never felt comfortable getting planted. Clock starts to burn. Eventually, the guard has to call the pivot to the opposite side of the map through the teleporter. But the rotation, thanks to the res as well, giving Moist the man advantage, is able to come through, limit balance to 1 frag, and eventually trade out Jonah P over here in the hookah position. Rock coming up big there. Will be able to save the operator as well to get back to Sim. Spectre, though, for Thief, so they're a little bit lower on the firepower. And the guard are able to still replenish here.
Op will be sent for Moist Moguls towards B-Long. No contact off the rip. Thief is going to hold close with a Spectre at mid-alley. And then shoulders from a Proto through shower side. This is a very nice line of scrimmage here for Moist Moguls early. That's
this is the same spot the op was at defensively last round and it wasn't spotted. And again, it's not going to get tested. But look at Thief. He might find a little
unreal
angle here.
So good.
Beautiful play. And a beautiful Molotov as well. Getting crafty, man.
I'll say.
Guess you have to with the Spectre.
Well, the numbers will hold. Thief getting out does cost the Seekers as well as the Molly. So do not rule out the guard, but losing Jonah P kind of almost takes, you would think, the A side out of consideration with no barrier orb. This would be a very difficult plant to get through.
Definitely a lot tougher.
The slow orb's going to make matters worse.
30 seconds
Only 30
left.
seconds on the clock. No rotation yet out of the defenders over towards the B site, but these smokes will essentially give way. Proto thinking about it, Boombot out. This is his chance for timing peak. Doesn't matter. Brock on the crossfire looks good. Little swing from Thief. Bait and switch comes out, and eventually Moist Moguls will take the wins. That last one standing. Keeps it interesting. Could still collect and plant very quickly. Flya moving rapidly. Very wise. Just makes the footstep sounds. Stops it from being winnable. And then the shorty over the top continues to be a pesky play, getting us to 5-5. And now timeout. What a game from Valen, though. 14-5. But I'll tell you, Moist Moguls, for a team that we have not seen play this map on a broadcast yet, they are looking well prepped. And you talk about, again, just the meta comps between these two squads agent-wise. You kind of expected it. It's been the preferred setup for just about every team so far in Bind this season, both cross-challengers and VCT. But a lot of the strengths that we've been talking about for the guard, talking about their mid-round adaptations, their ability to create questions. Moist Moguls have had answers here so far through this first half. And the guard will talk about it just a touch here to see what they want to do in round 11 and round 12. And really the conversation may be, what do we have to do to get Valen some more help here? Because he's been really solid on these kind of after executed plays. But things haven't been nearly as clean for the guard as they're used to seeing. So now Moist Moguls, what do you do? Can you find a way to come in as the mystery here on Bind? Take the first half. The Showstopper Orbital Strike at the ready for him. Other side, it's just Valen holding on to his Orbital Strike. And Moist Moguls are looking to maybe get aggressive here with this Showstopper through mid again. Not this time. It's just going to be a walk-up. Op in hand, net seen, but not shot. And now the guard will get controlled showers for free. This is the first time we've seen this for some time. Smoke's coming through. Showstopper out. Trailblazer does hit, and that's going to leave enough for the guard to exit away. This will be an empty Showstopper just sent through mid. Trent, still going to hold the position. It looks like the guard will eventually consider actually taking a first look over towards B long. Now you've got Flya, the one in position here, and you have a rotation on a Brock. As Moist Moguls are still a little bit, I would say, congested inside of A with this setup. Guiding Light will clear out Hookah. That's a little bit of extension towards where the defense could be, and now kind of a question starts to prop up here for the guard, as Flya is going to have a lot of intel here on this cross. Snake Bites will get him out. If he does feel the pressure, Orbital Strike will actually force him to hold his ground a little bit. Flash also in. Snake Bite comes through. Avoids the first paint shell. Second Snake Bite down. Brock is here to assist. And now an opportunity for Fly to get activated. Oh my goodness, how good is that? Res still comes through though. Guard survived with 4. Sim steps in. He's got help from a Proto on site here. 20 seconds on the clock. It's gonna be a teleporter play back over to Thief. He's still got an Orbital Strike. He could hold off this plant for long enough just to win it by the clock. There's the toggle. Orbital Strike called in. Jonah P doesn't have a plant. Is he gonna have time to plant this? Just barely. Molly not gonna quite get there.
Spike planted.
Thief though, still gets the first kill in the exchange, turning it to a 3v2. Jonah's still on a Guardian. Sim's still on an Operator. The Proto makes his way in. The regrowth comes out. That will give at least some sort of awareness on where Trent's positioned. They know both players are playing deep. Proto trying to take the first check. Flash out, connects onto both. It doesn't make a difference. It's Jonah in the corner who falls. And Moist Moguls take the edge again, now up 6-5.
Man, oh man. It's starting to brew, isn't it?
Amazing.
It's really starting to come together for Moist Moguls.
Last round.
We came into this completely unaware of what Moist would have to offer on this map. And granted, the sample size of the guard was also kind of small, and so it was very much a mystery.
Spike plant.
And yet, Moist Moguls,
One enemy
despite
remaining.
at times looking down, at times looking a little bit uncomfortable, they have slowly but surely now put themselves out in front defensively on this map. They have won the last 3 in a row, the last 4 out of 6, and they seem to be grasping control at a very critical moment in this series.
And now a massive advantage in the weaponry because you've just got a Stinger out for Trent. Tools nearly at the ready though for him as well. One off of Seekers, but this one's going to be fought out largely just by who's got the better aim, the better shot.
Oh man, Flya getting sneaky up close to the smoke could be everything. But no, Jonah P's gonna catch it.
HLs though, lots of damage. Brock only gets 1. He'll start to come through. Barrier placed. Regrowth also in. Lots of sustain coming out, and the Molly just does not quite get there to stop the plant. So a tough 3v4 here, especially with Sim still on an Operator. Good slow orb lands center mass of Jonah P. He's locked in place, but the barrier orb blocking elbow
Blinded.
keeps his post plant focus right towards the defensive screens. Thief and Sim still holding from that position. Flash it. Paint shells pushes Trent off. Proto will clear the high ground. Thing is, there's not much of an entry here as Trent gets the kill. There's the Seekers. Tax trying to chase down a Proto, but a Proto gets the kill. Stays alive. Jonah P. Little Sage on Sage action. How about it? Just down to Trent all of a sudden, who only gets 1. But Net will still see it go the guard's way. 6-6 half again for the second map in a row.
Oh my goodness, man. And again, from our perspective, we can't know if Moist feels good about 6 rounds defensively or not. We don't know where their comfort lies when it comes to the attacking side. However, what I can tell you for the guard, as far as attacking sides go, I mean, that's kind of on the lower end of the spectrum. Like, they've usually been able to get like 7 or more attacking rounds on by in the past and got limited to 6 there. Still not too far off their average.
Sure.
So I'm sure they still feel okay about it. But for Moist, again, I'm not sure how comfortable they are on the attack. So I don't know, again, if that half felt good to them or whether or not they feel like they're a little behind.
Yeah.
Either way, big pistol coming up.
Yeah, the only comparison we have is just off the stats from the guards, which again, like I mentioned, it's good on both sides. So it's
Yeah, exactly.
not much learned right there outside of the fact that most Moguls are here fighting.
Yeah, I mean, they're slightly better on the attack by about 5% points, but still 60% defensively.
Nice Frenchie shots from net. Sim will be the first to drop. Spike still focused over towards Hookah's side, though. Guiding Light will get them through. Smoke's now being placed. Trent is the only defender on the site for now. Trailblazer's out. He will see the information. Actually, he does connect, too. Now the spam of the Ghost coming out. Proto looking to threaten. Classic in hand looking for the right clicks. And oh my goodness, the shots from Proto just so clean. Are you kidding? Spike planted 4v4.
That was so bold to go fight Trent like that. Here comes the guard trying to spill in quickly. Pinstripe goes to kill feed.
Oh, net. Still in the frenzy. Proto in a little bit of
Player
trouble.
standing.
Still gets
One
one?
enemy remaining.
Are you joking? How good is Proto? Now Fly a 1v1. Oh, clean little spray down from Jonah with the frenzy, though. Pistol won by the guard.
Dude, Jonah read that to perfection. I mean, for all he knows, Fly could be coming any number of angles, but based on the information that he was relayed and based on his own game sense, he decides to choose to watch for that back hall's rotation through the tube, and he is right, and he gets to jump on him with the frenzy. Again, just a back and forth affair through and through. Big play from a Proto. Gotta give props to him. He had such a great performance in that round, but in the end, Jonah P showing you why he is a top 10 player when it comes to clutch percentage and challengers overall.
Doesn't even matter what weapon he's got, really.
Yeah, I guess not, man.
Wow. Bucky in play this round for Sim. Looking to take that right into Lamps. Couple of the shots on both sides starting to come through, but Sim. Oh, chunky monkey. Oh, or is it?
What?
Grenade!
How's Valorant alive?
I don't know, bro. I don't know. Takes a lot of damage, but now he's gonna get some healing from a Proto. Gonna get him back up to 100. Now they have man advantage on this retake.
And weapons. But there are 3 sheriffs in a frenzy in play. Just a little lurk from Thief. X trying to spam down the toxic screen. Sheriff shot's not quite hitting yet, but Proto does connect. Proto still holding on towards Hall's side, gets the reload. Back and forth we go. Proto, oh my. 2v2, nobody knows where Thief is. He's right behind it, gets the first. Tries to play for the time. Has Trent trying to stick it. Oh, but he gets it. Does he have enough time to get this all the way through? It's going to be real tight. And oh my goodness, Trent clutches up with 0.7 on the clock. Oh, mercy.
Oh, dude, I thought he was playing it pretty well. I thought he was playing it just right on how much he was peeking and how much he was just playing a little bit of chicken there with them on whether he's going to hold the spike or not. But in the end, Trent does it just barely. As you said, 0.7 seconds to get that diffuse through. I have to say, though, considering that was a pretty low investment round, the fact that Moist did that much damage and got a spike plant and got it that close to victory, I mean, look at the repercussions. The guard are having to come into this off of a victory with 4 sheriffs.
Yeah.
I mean, that was pretty brutal.
It was very brutal, but remember that round if this ends up being like a 13-11 or something like that, right? I mean,
yeah, you're right.
The economical swap is a silver lining to be sure. Fly up, good opening damage, doesn't quite get the kill. Tech's backing up, but he runs right into danger. Sim paint shells through, nice flash to combine with it. Goodness, Moist Moguls doing everything they possibly can to pack a punch here. Trent lurking through the smoke. May try to catch timing here. He's got a weapon, you could blow this play wide open. There's the peek, he gets one, but not a
Spike
second.
down
Goodness
A.
gracious, it was tight though.
You will
Yeah,
not
Fly and
kill
huge
my
to get that
ally.
frag. Now they get the res as well to get
Player
deep back into the
standing.
fight. Sim finds Jonah P, and now it's all on Valen. 1v4 with the Sheriff playing around this barrier. Just has him blocked off here. And inside Lamps. Moist still minding their P's and Q's here. They don't care what kind of edge they have. They want to make sure they don't give away anything. But I don't get one.
Grenade.
But that's it.
Yeah.
Still pretty efficient. All said and done.
What a battle. Orbital strike gets earned though for Valen with that elimination. this little play with the paint shells to delay, the flash to follow up. I mean, really good zone of control here from Moist Moguls. Only small miscues here or there. And like you mentioned, the early res also popped out, so full weapons in play for both sides. Critical round 16 on the way.
This is a big one, isn't it? Could even things up, or it could allow guard to get out in front and put Moist Moguls into a tight economical situation. Meanwhile, if Moist wins this, you feel like they're destined for the lead, considering how low the guard's credits are as well.
Love the early offensive pressure in these last couple of rounds. Initially through sewers, here through hookah. It's gotten the guard to rotate early. Now that Trailblazer does give them at least some idea and at least a little bit of breathing room here through B long, but you can see the guard is still going back and forth between both sites.
Yeah, they don't really have a whole lot of information other than having a little bit of a forward angle thanks to net over towards Garden. But look, a Sim quickly taking control of Lamps thanks to the Trailblazer leading the way. And the Satchel charge forward, a little bit of a boost here. Orbital Strike does come in. And Jonah gets a frag. Spike doesn't go down. That's pretty big.
This will be a 4v4 on site for now. Net is on the long flank. He is not going to be a part of the picture for a while, though. Moist Moguls just keep delaying longer and longer. Tex trying to control over through Lamps. He's shut down. You still need to see this play from Net coming on this long flank. And Thief is watching it. The timing here is everything. And oh, he steps away. Net now being held at range. Snake bite through. He's got to use this as a chance to push forward. Rez getting called in. The guard door running out of time. Stim Beacon also in play, but Moist Moguls have the crossfire on setup. The guard have to flood. They've got to go. This long play from Net is just not here in time. Now the orbital strike gets called in. Valen stuck in the middle of it. Brock deals with Jonah P. Back and forth we go, and the last one left is Net in this long flank. Thief did his job. Kept him held for way too long, and Moist Moguls get us tied up at 8.
Indeed they do. It was a costly one, though. They're going to have to rebuy 4 players with low credits. So, I mean, it keeps the economies kind of tight for both sides. Obviously, though, the guard are the ones suffering the bigger repercussions after that loss. They can't really buy much around this save Vandal. And so they will call a timeout to see, hey, what is the best we can do here? What is the, max we can spin to support this rifle to give us a cracking chance, but make sure we can still full buy next round. The scoreboard's tight. It's okay to concede here. You don't have to do too much. If you're Moist Moguls, I think the one concern you have is how tough these rounds have come. Yeah, you're putting some rounds together. Yeah, you've tied things back up, but we haven't seen many clean, confident wins. That was probably the best one we saw right there, and it still technically came down to a 1v1. So, again, I still haven't quite gotten the read yet on how comfortable Moist really are. I'm liking, like you said, the early pressure they're putting's nice. They definitely know what they're doing. They're definitely not coming this match completely lost. But I still couldn't tell you who has the edge in this tie situation right now.
I think that still, in its own self, says a lot, though, for a team in the guard who have seen this map go pretty convincingly their way a couple of different times. For Moist Moguls to come out and give them one heck of a battle. Oh, yeah. So the guard, like you had kind of mentioned in the midpoint of that last round, will be in financial troubles here. Full rifles, obviously, for Moist Moguls. There is Seekers available for Trent. Possible more ultimates on the way from Moist Moguls, depending on how they want to get off the barriers here. They're 1 orb away from 3 different ultimates.
Indeed they are, and they're wasting no time putting some pressure over towards hookah position. The problem is there's a decent little crossfire here from Trent and Valen playing a little bit of a bait and switch on top of that for the boom bot. Smartly placed from Sim with paint shells to clear. Oh, but that
what?
The double, how is that possible? How is that allowed?
He gets hit by the boom bot and he falls back into the paint shells and he's still up. Then Jonah connects. Oh no. Oh no. It's a flawless thrifty for the guard.
A thrifty?
Dude. I can't speak.
I can't even fathom how Valen does that. I mean, Sim does everything right. Great boombot placement, paint shells. It's like Valen just catches the craziest timing in front of the boombot to get out there, double spray with the stinger, and survive with 5 HP. That is ludicrous. Of all the things that could have happened that round, that's the last guess I would have had.
Yep.
I mean... And now the shoe's on the other foot, isn't it? Moist now the ones on the back foot, firepower-wise.
Well, Trent confirms early pressure through hookah. Again, Seekers, Viper's Pit, Showstopper at the ready for Moist Moguls, so don't sleep in them possibly doing this. Lots of damage towards Trent. He does have Jonah right next door, though, so he'll get healed up with the orb. But Flya has snuck into an unbelievable position. First one good. Does he get two? No! Maybe a missed chance here. Valen backs up. Seekers come out. Here are the Moist Moguls on their approach.
I've got your trail.
Definitely wanted two there. Only got one, but they still get the space. They still get some side control. And like you said, the showstopper is still there. We still have some ways to win this one.
Sim going quick. Oh, could have a couple with this, and he does. He gets two. Tex and Valen fall topside heaven. Weapons collected for Moist Moguls. Tell me you're not entertained by this one. 3v2. Trent and Jonah trying to work their way back in. That is the last piece of utility. Unless a barrier orb can get placed to block up. There it is, it's placed. Trent's on the hold. Hold on a second, is there an angle here? Brock's gonna do a little bit of parkour and get the double. Oh, another thrifty comes out. We stay tied.
Yeah, this is definitely one of those are you not entertained type moments. If you're watching this game, if you're here on the main broadcast, if you're here at one of the great viewer parties we've got going all around between Ludwig and Tarek and Sean Gares and Sliggy and all those folks out there, we appreciate you all. I feel like you're getting your money's worth out of this, which is granted, you didn't pay anything at all. So you're definitely getting your money's worth considering how just action-packed this game has been. And I gotta tell you, Ship, it's kind of an analyst nightmare because I still couldn't tell you who's actually got the edge right now. I have no idea. It's so hard to read.
Yep. Loosen the tie, roll up the sleeves, sit back and enjoy, I think.
Yeah, get the popcorn, get the whatever.
Oh, goodness. Opening exchange right outside Showers. Little boost here from Jonah. Doesn't quite hold his ground, though. Trailblazer clears out the backside of the crates. Tex will spam through the poison cloud as Moist Moguls force their way in. Viper's pit in. Slow orb is placed, but this is all fine as Moist Moguls will get their post plant set up. Although, hold on. Trent takes down a proto on a little cross, little pre-fire setup. Net's trying to work his way out of the teleporter, and Brock just has to step into a gunfight, and it's not a good look at one. So now it's down to Thief and Flya. There is still a molly at the ready. You see Thief on the minimap deep towards mid. It's really down to how much damage can Flya do, and he's gonna do none. Body gets teleported to the other side of the map.
Launching smoke.
Halfway to the defuse. Tex, the rest of the gang, flush him out, no worries. Guard gets to double digits first.
That's a very big, convincing win for the Guard, surviving with 4 players, maneuvering their way through all the action on the A side. It was an equal exchange right off the rip, right into a 4-on-4 within the blink of an eye. But from that point forward, the Guard dictated the pace of the round. Even with Viper's pit in play, the Guard kept the pressure on. Tex having that angle up top of sight really killed that shower swing that Moist tried to go for. He just got overwhelmed by numbers and had to worry about players up high and down low and just couldn't pick a target. And so now the Guard step back out in front. Full buy for both sides. Credits are pretty similar, though the Guard's a little bit better off.
Yep. Just marginally so, though. I mean,
right.
Just
Flya takes a lot of heat there.
Yeah. Healed up, though, no worries.
Smoke's down.
The big thing is you got Showstopper and Orbital Strike available for the Guard. Yeah. Those are massive for a hold or a retake. That means Moist have to really kind of step on eggshells right now, approaching these sites and trying to find control, trying to find a way to get a spike in. Trailblazer will get shut down over towards Hookah side, and that's where Moist are picking their battles right now. Mostly just trying to create presence at the moment, not really committing.
Oh, Trent, little off angle. Not going to connect. Hookah now earned by Moist Moguls. Final guiding light sent over towards Long. Doesn't see much. So this little bit of patience from Moist Moguls, not revealing too much information, are going to give them the ability to kind of surprise this B execute because the Guard are still not fully rotated in. Offensive Trailblazer will keep the defense interested over on A, and now here comes the hit.
Oh, Trent has an off angle though.
Oh, and Net gets one. That first from Net, so important. Orbital Strike gets called. This is going to put a pause on the hit and allows the defense a chance to rotate over. Regrowth comes through. Protoss going to get back to full HP. Net's going to have to hold through Long. Stays away from the guiding light on the cross. Brock, big kill. That should be enough for a Proto to plant. Pain Shells over the top, not doing too much. Showstopper out. Oh, it does land, but Tex gets immediately punished. 3v2 situation. Numbers with Moist Moguls. Thief playing deep, just trying to poke away through the walls.
One enemy remaining.
Roto up close, and there it is. How about it, Moist Moguls? We go back and forth. The tug of war continues.
And we're still lost in the sauce, man. We still have no idea where it's headed. But again, I'm down for it. These last 5 rounds have been back and forth. No one has strung together more than 2 in a row in this second half. It has been tooth and nail, a straight up slobber knocker all the way. And I mean, in that particular round, Moist just able to get a big frag on Garden. That was Brock who grabbed it. That was the key kill that gets the spike down and gives them victory. And now they have the 2 ult advantage coming into this round as we're tied up 10-10, but look at this push out of Hookah. It's so dangerous.
Thief at least gets one in response. Orbital strike at the ready. Does Thief punch this in? No.
Nah.
This timing. He thought about it though.
Oh, Fly's been spotted by Tex up top here. Again, it's that multi-pronged pressure. Flya doesn't overcommit though, doesn't overplay the hand. And now Trailblazer clears their way into Hookah, allows him to grab a res. So now they're gonna have the 5-on-4.
Proto went to go res the wrong person for a moment there. Valen gets one across, aggressive D3B long, traded back. We stay with numbers for Moist Moguls. Orbital strike used to clear out elbow. Hold on a second, this is a little bit mismanaged. Tex takes care of the lurk onto Flya, and we get back to a true 3v3. Jonah just underneath Hookah. This peak from Valen is everything. Just comes out of the timing of what Sim checks when, and Jonah gets one for free. No trade here initially. Brock finally secures it, and Valen gets poked at through container. Seekers earned, immediately spent. Beef for the planets, Tex in a 1v2.
Dude, Brock has been so big these last couple of rounds. Has he done it again? Can he put Moist across the line? It's all up to Tex.
He's gonna get seen on this cross. Paint shells out though. Gets him a chance to move forward. Try to go quickly through it. Down to 85 HP. He's got a good prediction on this, but doesn't know that both players are over towards elbow. There's the toggle. Still the molly at the ready for Thief. They want to delay a little longer, but he doesn't even need it. Takes the challenge, wins the gunfight. Moist Moguls at the edge. 11-10 up.
Brock has been, again, just a pillar for this team to lean on. That round, it looks scary because Jonah P gets that frag from under a window. You think that's going to be the key difference maker? They also did a very good job pushing through and kind of canceling out that res with the long B push. But again, it's Brock getting the kill on Jonah P and then gets to spam on Valen through the tube inside center sight. And now they have the guard up against the wall economically, dude. They're force buying the rest of this game from here on out. This time it's just a Sheriff and Marshall and Stinger. So it's not the full-on force. They can still buy next, but they're in a precarious position right now with Moist up in rounds and economy.
But don't sleep on thrifty rounds, Dust. We've had like 5 this game.
Oh, yeah. That is very true.
And Jonah almost takes off the head of Fly, and he says not interested. Sim trying to go quickly. Nice paint shells. Actually, the blast pack dealing some damage. Forces Net into action, and Sim starts to tee off. Jonah does get one, keeps it in relatively even terms, but Flya turns the tides. Snake bite down. Jonah, the only defender nearby, and he will not be allowed to take any more Marshall shots. Thief will get the plant behind the barrier orb. Jonah trying to move a little bit quickly, though. No angle. At least exchange, I believe. No, it doesn't exchange the weapon here. Trent on the long play through caves.
The timing, and there could be a res here too, I think.
Sure
right?
could. Through lamps.
Ah, never mind. Yeah, but it's exposed.
No. Roto. Oh my, wait a second. No way. Not like this. Res comes out, Trent gets the shots, the flash is in. Thief for the 1v3, Jonah tanks. It's just the shorty. He gets the first. Can he get the reload? He just self-mollies down on top of it. Jonah's at low health. He can't just step on it immediately. He's gonna have to try to measure it, but no! Thief gets the kill. It's the clutch and Moist Moguls on series points.
Oh my goodness, dude. I cannot tell you how incredible in the heat of the moment, rapid decision making is for Thief to understand that he's getting double pushed. He only has shorty, he's got no health, and he needs to get that Molotov off because he knows if he can just get it deployed with the damage he has done, he can still win. The fact that in all of that chaos and stress that he managed to pick that out and do it, I can't tell, that it may seem so simple on face value, but it's not. Not when you're getting pressured that much to pull that out and pull it off. Oh my.
Showstopper out, Sim. Oh, trying to dash right on in, but he runs right into Trent, completely flashed. Seeker's out trying to hold this defensive line. And hold on a second, we're not done yet.
My goodness, this game is delivered on all fronts. There's not been a moment of boredom. All high octane. Trent doesn't catch much with the Trailblazer there, but again, they still have man advantage. They still have orbital strike on Thief. On the other side, though, and that could be a tipping point. Pressuring Hookah and Short simultaneously is Moist Moguls. Wait
45 seconds.
a second.
Yep. This is still up for grabs this round.
It's so tough for Moist. They're just not able to get the foreground they want. I mean, the counter utility has been good. The entry obviously happens for the guard. Orbital strike can maybe clear away onto Lamps and push Jonah P out of position. That's really about it.
Oh! Just as soon as the smoke comes through, but Texas still in the same position to contest. Hate shells out, but Proto boosts himself up for the kill. Plant cannot come through, though. Not immediately. Orbital strike gonna get called in. That's all used over towards Lamp side. Jonah P, he's been a playmaker for his squad. Tries to deal with the barrier orb. Is this the moment? Spike's still not planted yet. It will come down, though, eventually. Trent doesn't stop it in time. Down to Brock, 1v2. Both players gonna swing this likely together. There's the challenge! Bang! Brock gets both! And it's an eBay clutch for Moist Moguls to strike down the guard and make it to the winners finals!
Oh my goodness, and it's so fitting that it's Brock the one to put the final brick in the wall. The man has been magical all half. So many clutch kills, so many just in the heat of the moment decisions that Brock made, as well as the frags he was able to collect throughout those last 4 or 5 rounds to bring his team back up to speed. And again, that's been the talking point, hasn't it? Really, this whole split long is the step up that we have seen from Thief and Brock to really be right there next to Sim and Flya in this team to deliver the frags in those key moments. And then again, Thief, the chef's kiss Molotov on the spike the round prior. I mean, good God. Like, you got a little bit of everything in that game, dude. I'm literally on the edge of my seat this entire time, hands in the air, like freaking out. Like, that game was something special, dude.
Wow. I mean, and that's just winners semifinals. We still have an opportunity for those two teams to possibly meet again. But for now, the big storyline, whether you're starting your coach or not, Moist Moguls find a way to again best the guard, and now they've got a date up against M80 in the upper bracket finals, 1 series away from making it to Ascension. What a story it is. What growth we've seen. We have to stop talking, though. The desk, I'm sure, is chomping at the bit, getting ready to go. They'll be back with us just after this to give us their final reactions as we end the day.
Yo, check it out. Want to know if the price of those Wave Runners is too good to be true? Or if I Wear My Kicks 49 is truly selling dead stocks? Or if that Jordan 1 Royal Box is original? eBay checks. See that little blue check mark? Behind it is a team of independent authenticators who check. And we mean everything. Every tongue, check. Every toe box, check. Every corner of every box, check, 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 check. Every logo, every label, every lace loop. Yeah, it's checked. The luster of the leather, the topography on the tags, to the straightness of the stitching on the sole. Everything you can see, and even some things you can't.
Really?
Then they tag them, log them in the system, box them up, and ship them out, with no cost for the buyer or seller. eBay checks, so the moment you open that box is as real gets.
Oh my God. What a second map. And it definitely delivered on all of our expectations for the series coming into it. But those few final rounds, my adrenaline's pumping and I'm not even in the damn game. I'm like so wired and amped up. I'm like watching every moment and I'm like, oh my goodness, that Thief clutch towards the end, followed up by another clutch. It was clutch after clutch after clutch after clutch. Moist Moguls end up coming out on top. And now they are 1 best of 3 away from representing North America in Ascension. A sentence I did not think would come out of my mouth looking back at the start of Split 1. Sully, this was one of the most exciting games we've seen probably all challengers long.
No, this is like from, day one was low-key disappointment. Like, every team that won should have won. Like, let's be honest here. Straight 2-0s clean. Today delivered on every single front. I am blown away. Like, my whole thought process just got wiped by the Thief hero play. Like, in my notes, I literally just have holy back-to-back clutches because that's what made this series, and it's probably going to be the most memorable moment out of this entire series. Both teams came to play today, but Moist Moguls in this second map, I said it, there's two ways this map could go. They either suck at it or they're cooking, and I don't think they cooked fully, but they definitely sauteed something on this map of mine.
They're rare right now. They're not well done, but they're definitely palatable. If you watch this desk segment, even if you look, when I first started, my eyes were somewhere else. It's because I wanted to watch that clip again. I was literally watching the Twitch feed because it was on Thief's clutch. I needed to see that again. Those last few rounds were just so unbelievable coming in from Moist to keep them alive. And keep in mind, map 1 was almost a win for Guard. If it had been, we'd be going to map 3 here. Subtle changes in play in both games could have resulted in a 2-0 win for the Guard. It could have resulted in a map 3. We could have had flip-flop scorelines. Moist could have won, or Moist could have lost map 1. Guard could have lost map 2. But instead, we end up with what we have. We end up with the scenario that we got, and it's an impressive showing from Moist Moguls.
Yeah, I feel like I have to take a breather after that. I'm so hyped after watching the second half. There's so many different things that I want to highlight. As an in-game leader myself, I really feel like these are the most exciting games to call in because they're back and forth. You really have to think outside of the box, and it's super rewarding once you win those very close, crucial games. The game was constantly back and forth. There were so many rounds that were game changer. I feel like in round 18, we saw Fly that crept up into U-Haul, got a pick. Sim was able to work off of that map control, forced into spawn, used the rocket, got a 2K. I mean, that was just one of the many rounds that happened where they were able to get map control.
The thing that I love the most in like these close games, and kind of as Emma's describing like her favorite rounds, it's like when it gets that close, like not tactics just get flown out the window, but it's like it comes down to the individual stars that start to bring out these crazy performances. Like Valorant had his moments. Him and Jonah P were doing everything that they could to bring this team across the line. And then for someone like Sim, like you mentioned, that double rocket, a lot of individual plays came through in those final moments, and it just made an absolute blockbuster of a matchup.
Oh, someone should check on Ludwig. I'm sure he is fired up. I wish we had like a little camera of him in the corner so we could see his reaction to that, because I'm sure he is amplified to a level that many people wouldn't be. We're going to go ahead and throw things to the post-series highlights. When we come back, we'll be jumping into a post-match interview with a very likely excited member of Moist Moguls. Stay tuned.
One enemy remaining.
Out of here.
One enemy remaining. Take it out. One enemy remaining. Spike planted. One enemy remaining.
Normally, when we come into the interview, one of the things I say is if you miss the last match, here's an update. If you miss the last match, pause immediately and rewatch the VOD. An incredible series that went deep in both maps, but it ends up being a 2-0 victory for Moist Moguls, which means it is time to welcome in a member of Moist Moguls for the post-match interview. And after that clutch, who could we bring in other than Thief? An insane win, a huge win. You guys are now one best of 3 away from qualifying for Ascension. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Coming into today, one of the things we had not yet seen from you is Bind. Even as Breakthrough, you guys were banning it in the early portions. In fact, the team as a whole hasn't played Bind since before you were even on the roster back in November of last year. Why all of a sudden float Bind through the ban phase?
I think when we made the team, we had a couple of people that didn't play Bind. Like I think Fly wasn't playing Bind on Phase, and they weren't playing Bind on Ghost at all. And then they took it out of the map pool, and then it came back in. And we just wanted to, like, give every map a chance, I guess, and it ended up being like a good map for us in practice and everything. So we feel comfortable enough to, be able to pick it and put it into our arsenal. So we like it a lot.
Obviously, it was a close game in both maps as well. But you personally, as a player, you've been one of the most improved players from Split 1 to Split 2. It's not to say you played poorly in Split 1. It's just we've seen major improvements for you and Brock, teammates as well. You're number 1 and number 2 for most improved players. What have you changed for you individually coming into the second split?
Yeah, I think in the first split, like my first like 3 games were like horrible, and like I knew that like I'd never played that bad before, like in my life, like in that like 3 week span. So I put in a lot more effort, I guess, into like in game and out of game to just make sure that like I'm not just playing like that, because I don't want to play like that. I don't want my teammates to have to play with someone like that. So I knew that like that was just like probably the worst I've ever played, and I hold myself to a higher standard. So I think I'm back to how it should be.
And we obviously saw that in map 1. You were the top performer for your team, but also map 2 towards the tail end, the clutch. I mean, it's the one thing I've honestly wanted to talk about since you joined the interview. Walk me through what you're thinking in that scenario. I heard you talking about it with your teammates, but kind of fill the audience in on what was going on.
Yeah, honestly, I thought we were just gonna win the round. We were up 4v2, and they had pistols, and then one of us died, and then they got res, and then the next thing I knew, I was flashed by a sky, and I was like, oh god! Like in my head when I was full one, I was like, okay, the round's over. And then I got the first kill, and then the second guy peeked me. I ran out of ammo in my Vandal, and I pulled out my shorty, and then I used all the ammo in that. I was like, all right, the only thing I have left is my molly, so I'll just throw this thing down and pray to God that he runs out of time.
When the molly hit, did you know you had the round, or were you still like, I don't know if I've got this? I feel like there's still a chance.
Uh, to be honest, I was pretty confident that he had no time, because I can obviously tell like how much time is left on the bomb and everything like that. I was like, I would say I was like 99% sure that the round was pretty much over as soon as I got the molly off.
In general, the last few rounds of that game and a couple of rounds on Haven were very close. The last few rounds, it was like Clutch City. It was a back and forth affair. What were the vibes like for the team? Like, how tense of an environment was that for you guys to be in that situation, knowing you were just a few rounds away from going into the finals?
Yeah, it was getting a little hectic towards the end of both of the games, just because of how close it was, and I think we ended up making a lot more mistakes than we normally would just because of that. So I think everybody was a little bit more antsy, but it worked out in the end, and we closed it out. So I'm pretty happy.
Well, I mean, it's honestly probably one of the most exciting games we've had throughout all of Challengers, going back to Split 1. An incredible series. You guys end up coming out on top. Testament to all the hard work you've been doing. This last question does come to you guys from the fan zone. If you guys are watching at home, you can join the fan zone as well as pks.gg/fanzone. This one's from Bandit. What's your plan against M80? Your next game is against the team who is basically number 1 in Challengers. What are you guys going to do to prepare?
Honestly, probably just run at EU. I think if I run at that guy run, I'll just kill him. So we'll probably just win that way.
I guess that's one strategy. Obviously, you're not going to divulge the serious strats, and that's to be understood. Odorous flashing some leg in the background there too.
Yep.
Interesting, interesting decision. But congratulations on the win. Obviously, it's one you want to go celebrate with the team for. So I'll let you go. Good luck against M80.
Thank you. Thank you.
What a series! I am really not being coy here. That was seriously probably one of the more exciting series that we've had throughout Challengers. It would seem like it could have gone either direction at any given moment. Back and forth affair. But it's important to bring our analysts back so we can close out the show and remind everyone at home on this final part. As we take a look at the bracket, just because the guard lost does not mean the guard is out. They will now be making a journey down into the lower bracket, where they're facing off against the winner of G2 and Shopify Rebellion. And I mean, honestly, that's a pretty favorable matchup, regardless of which direction you slice it for the guard. I do feel like there's a small part of them that wants revenge against G2, since that's the team that knocked them out of the mid-season face-off, albeit a completely different form of G2. It feels like G2 currently is on a massive downward spiral, Sully.
Yeah, I think those lower bracket matchups, like, I think it's just like, I hate to put it this way, but it's like a battle of losers right now, I'm being honest. Like, every single team in that first round matchup just got slapped in their first upper bracket game. There's no other way to put it, but there's the thing is, we have a lower bracket for a reason. There's room for these teams to bounce back, and I don't think TSM played horribly. I think FaZe just got unlucky playing against like the best version of Guard that we've seen. Shopify, you just, it was M80. Like, you can't do anything about that. GG go next, basically. And then for G2, they've just been on a downward spiral. It's hard to describe what they need to do, and I think that's the beauty of this lower bracket. It's like there's another opportunity for these teams, a second lifeline for everyone to try and push forward into that Ascension spot.
I'm looking mostly though at that upper bracket final.
Oh, everyone is, bud. Everyone
Yes.
That is a ticket into Ascension. And who would have thought at the beginning of the season that it would be Moist Moguls against M80? I know a lot of people would have said M80 guaranteed. No doubt they're going to be in that spot.
Yeah.
But the team that Moist just beat, the Guard, was often touted as the team they'd be fighting against. And still is potentially touted as the team that's going to go there. Obviously, they could make a run through the lower bracket. But there is a world where Moist Moguls wins that series. Because if you remember back to the mid-season face-off, in an upper bracket semifinal match, they went 3 maps and it almost ended 2-0 in favor of Moist Moguls. This team should not be slept on. They just beat a massively informed Guard, Em.
Yeah. Yeah, they're looking really scary. And right now they're 7-0 if you count Split 2 and the playoffs. So they're feeling full-on confident. If I'm them right now, I'm going to be going into this game, even though M80 is also a very dominant team. Because of that record of 7-0, I'm going to feel like we got this. You know, we have the upper hand a little bit. We have a little bit of an underdog view, although I feel like they shouldn't be anymore because they've proven themselves many times.
I do think that as much as we are going to like praise this Moist Moguls team for making it this far, I think we also have to look at the negatives of that matchup, and it was a very scrappy battle. There are a lot of things I think Moist Moguls need to clean up. I think in particular, Sim needs to get activated a whole lot earlier, and they cannot be making those like individual overextending mistakes that I felt we did see at times on Bind. So you're going up against, again, the best team. Like, I think a lot of people are gonna look at that M80 game and you're not gonna be able to find a lot of flaws. But with this Moist Moguls team, you will see mistakes, and it is key that in the next week or so that they have, I think we're gonna be actually playing that upper bracket final game in a week from now. They take time, look at themselves, and refine and make sure those mistakes don't happen, because you will get punished by an M80 that is playing incredibly in form right now.
Yeah.
It's also important to point out, Em, you had mentioned it, they're 7-0, but their maps are what makes it even more impressive. 14-2 if you count Split 2 into playoffs. They are plus 12 map diff since Split 2 started. An incredibly impressive run, and it hasn't ended yet. I'm excited to see where it goes, but we do have our schedule for tomorrow. As there are more games this week, just one more day of action. And these will be the elimination matches. I think a lot of people are surprised to see one of these names in this position so early on. It's G2, who is the second place team coming out of the mid-season face-off. They actually bested the Guard in the lower final, ended up going 4 maps against M80, picking up 1, losing 3, in a best-of-5 final. But now they're in just a dire position. They have looked absolutely awful. There's really no way to sugarcoat it. This team has not looked like themselves. They came into playoffs out of Split 2, 0-5. 4-10 map win record, minus 49 round differential, the worst of every team in Split 2. It's just not great from this team.
Yeah, if I'm G2, I there's no way to sugarcoat it. If I'm going in with such a bad losing streak going on right now, you know what? You can't do any worse. Just put off the pressure off of your shoulder and go into this game. It's go hard or go home for them. They're playing versus Shopify, who barely scraped their way through in the playoffs as well. So they have to think of the positives as much as possible to make their way through and continue in the lower bracket.
And on the other side, we obviously have that TSM FaZe game. I think that, TSM put up maybe a little bit more of a fight at times. FaZe has looked awkward as well, so that one also going to be an interesting series. The winner of that will move on to play against Oxygen. And maybe we'll get an Oxygen Guard matchup in the very near future, as both of those teams seem very much poised to make a run through the lower bracket. It's interesting to see who it's going to be. But first, we got to get through those lower matches, and that'll all be tomorrow. That wraps things up for us here on the day. You guys better join us for tomorrow. We're sending some teams home. Ascension Hopes eliminated. You won't want to miss it. We'll see you then.
Standing. One enemy remaining. Spike. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. 30 seconds left. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. Player standing. One enemy remaining.
Out of here.
One enemy remaining. Take that. One enemy remaining.